So in this video, I'll be talking straight after 1 hour, that is 60 minutes straight, because I feel the need to engage in a very high, uh, you could say, progressive overload of my speaking skills. Now let's talk about what I used to do in during lockdown. So during lockdown, I used to do nothing other than use my mobile phone, and which is which is really bad. In that period of time, I could have downloaded lots of books from internet and read them one by one. But guess what? I started reading books at the very end of lockdown. And my first ever book was Do It Today. It was a productivity book of Daniel. I don't know the full name, unfortunately, but that book was the starting point of knowing what productivity is. And that book was the starting of everything. Then I read How to Not Give a F About Life or something like that. How to Not Give a F. It was by Mark Manson. That book was a deep. Oh, I think I'm screwing myself up by this challenge, but I have told you that I will speak for 1 hour, so I'm not giving up. I'll crank every words out of my mind, no matter how empty it gets. So the book, how to how not to give a F by Mark Manson, that author has explained many wisdom about life, about the bullshit people usually do, and what I liked about that book was a fictitious superhero named Boring Panda or something like that. The panda that wears a red cape, wears a red underwear, and he has this sunglass on his eyes. But what he does is he goes to people houses one by one and tells them what they're doing wrong and basically disappoints them by saying them the reality of their own situation. Yeah, now I remember the name of the panda was Disappointment Panda, and that was the one of the best things that I learned from that book because it shows how Mark Manson is very rational about people's situation, and people usually try to dream a lot. They try to put themselves in an imaginary world where they are living in their dreams, but guess what? They are not doing that. They are not putting the action in the real life, which is delaying the whole life, right? And instead of doing that, instead of living the reality, they are escaping the reality by by thinking delusional. Almost all the delusional thing is sometimes recommended, but guess what? They're doing it every single time, and that is destroying the time, that is destroying their energy. So what Disappointment Panda does is he goes, suppose he comes to my house and he talks with me, and he will be stating out what I am doing wrong, and I will not be successful if I do this, that every raw nitty gritty disappointments that can be deprived from the things that I am not doing. That is the thing here. You have to ruthlessly analyze everything that you do in your 24 hours in a day and then improvise again to do better in the next time during that task. And there are many topics that he covered actually there, that how to get motivation. People chase motivation, then do the work, then the motivation goes down, and then again watches motivation, and the cycle goes like that. Instead of doing that, do the work. You get the motivation by doing the work because you see that you were accomplishing something. and then again you will do the work, and then it will be a cycle. And this is not motivation, this is discipline. And Mark Manson had told us to implement this cycle in our life rather than changing external motivation, because motivation is crap. It's a temporary drug to forget everything you are struggling with right now. But true wisdom lies in that struggle, when you do not run away from your struggles, and you take full accountability of it and do the work. And guess what? After accomplishing the work, you will automatically get the urges to do the work again. And that is discipline. Exactly. There are a lot of stuff that he covered in that book. And yeah, I used to read some light novels, some Japanese light novels, and they were very beautiful. Not gonna lie, they are very beautiful. But gradually, I I started to read fiction books, fictional books like Can't Hurt Me, and books like I don't remember the name, but yeah, there was another book named The Only Book You Need for Hope by Mark Manson. And then there's book like Mastery of Love. There's another book like the book that covers, I don't know my I literally feel like every juices are being my mind is deprived of juices right now. I don't know what to say. And this is the exact defining moment where I have to change the way I speak, because I'm not going back. And also, no one's watching this video anyway, so why care? It's my own assignment, my own battleground, my own battlefield of improving my speaking skills, of improving my flow, of getting ideas. So let's talk about journaling. Journaling is very beneficial. When it was lockdown, I used to journal every single day. I used to write one page every single day about the day I had, about the 24 hours I had at that period of time. And I used to write every single day whatever was happening at that period of time. Suppose one day there was an accident with Bina, one of my good friends, and I wrote it down that page. And I still remember that incident where Bina fell off from his cycle and then got some injuries in his leg, and that was like 4 years ago. I still remember that day. And why is that so? Because I have recorded that incident in the first page of my journal. The first page of that journal was like, that day was a rainy day. It was rainy. It was raining now and then. And when it was 4 p.m., I went on for my tuition, where I saw one of my dearest friend Binayak uh, getting injuries from an accident from his cycle. He fell off, and he got scratches like wounds on his leg. And then I and Jisoo went to his house to admire his study room and stuff like that. He had a lot of books. His room was very organized, neat and clean. And then we came back. I came back home to do some English tasks, but I procrastinated, and then I slept. That was the first day. I still remember that day because I've recorded that day in a diary. That is the beauty of journaling, because when you are after when you're looking back to your old times, you will be in AWE, or like AWE. I don't know how to pronounce that word, but it's like that. You'll be surprised by how much time you have been changing, and like how much you have changed from your post life, from your post 5 to 10 years. If you keep journaling, that would be well reflected in that diary of how you were. Suppose When I was at Agra, when I was in Agra, I used to write and outline my imaginary novel that I always used to thought about writing. And for that novel, I used to research places to set plots on. Suppose I open Google Map and then do some research on the hilly areas of West Bengal like Darjeeling, Kurseong, Simla. Not Simla, Simla is Himachal Pradesh anyway. It's Siliguri, yeah. So I used to do my research on such places, and then I used to dig up more of those places, of the history, of the cultural aspect of every city I'm researching about Kurseong, about Darjeeling, about Siliguri, what kind of unknown hilly places tourists do not often go to, and I often write those places down on my diary, who in that common diary where I was writing about that novel, researching about that novel. And by setting up the spots, I drafted my first draft of first chapter, the second chapter, third chapter, how it would be going through the plots, through the places. So it was very interesting during the lockdown. I used to think about a novel all day, but I've never committed writing one single page every single day because at a period of time I was very very naive of this self improvement stuff. But because I'm exposed to these uh, elements of staying consistency and elements of staying disciplined, I can do that. But right now focusing on different occupation. Today I'm focusing on copywriting. But back then when I was in lockdown, I always thought that how can I become a billionaire or millionaire, something like that, a rich guy. So my option was writing because I was inspired by J.K. Rowling's success story of selling billions copies of Harry Potter, and from that incident only, I had an idea that I would be getting rich by writing and selling books. But it was not the purpose of writing books was not about getting not only about getting rich. That was secondary. The first thing is that I was well aware of the people behavior of human beings, and was thinking of writing such a strong books which would literally shape the behavior of people for social norm and stuff like that. And yeah, I never knew at that period of time that Indians civil sense, their culture, like their behavior is not as good as I know today. But at that period of time I never knew that. But unknowing to the fact, but that I was thinking about changing people's behavior and beliefs by writing books, powerful books, to make uh, a change in people's behavior, unknowing to the fact. So I actually never wrote more than two chapters, but I've already like planning. I was doing planning only. That was the worst part here, because if you don't take action, then it's nothing. It will nothing. Like no results will come from planning. But I was planning. I was naive. I was planning until the end. How the novel will be ending, the big ending. No, I'll not end the novel at 7. I will end the novel at 15. The novel series I'm talking about. I'll write 15 novels in a series. That's so crazy. Man, you are so naive. I was so naive back then that if I go back then, I would be slapping myself. Not slapping myself, I'll be dictatoriating myself to push myself to the direction of taking action, because that period of time was full of free time, or else I could have been reading a lot of books. Even though I don't have physical books, but I could have been reading a lot of books from Jet Library. And I discovered Jet Library after 2022, and I kept on downloading loads of books. I kept on reading a lot of books, and when I kept on reading a lot, My sophistication as a thinker increased day by day. My sophistication of words increased every single day. But that also came with a cost. The cost was I was not studying for the class 9. I was neglecting that. I had a phone. I was all day studying. I was no, not studying. I was all day reading books, ebooks of different original books. All are pirated. So you can call me unofficially book thief. No, online book thief. I don't know. Like I just literally love to read. I loved to read about different people. I love to read about different ideas. I love to read about different novels. But that stopped when the half yearly exam took place and that exam's results got uncovered. Parents, you know how Asian parents act when they get to see their children's bad result. You all know that. We all know that as an Asian citizens. Now, what happened? A big change happened in my mind by reading a lot of books. I started to ask questions, a lot of questions regarding life. I was very naive. I was almost blinded by the academic system. Because I read a lot of books, I then found that the real world isn't the way we are taught in school. We are totally naive to the real world. And because of that, I started to learn a lot more than academics, more than what the system teaches us. And the more I did, the more bad I got in studies. I don't know, because maybe because I wasn't interested in marks. I was all frustrated of this mark system at a period of time. And I found it hard to accept the situation of myself stuck in that system where everyone is almost manipulated to on marks more than asking questions out of curiosity. They ask questions that, sir, will this question even be there in the exam? Will this question be are in the syllabus? Will these questions are in syllabus? I have rarely ever seen any students ask questions out of curiosity, but most of them ask questions to only know that whether this question, this exact questions, is available in the syllabus or not. And what is the marks of these questions? What kind of questions will get? What kind of marks will these questions have? That's when I knew this system was killing genuine, creative, curious, intellectual minds of students. Those students who used to think creative, those same students who used to have a lot more talents when they were small. Suppose, take for example myself. I used to draw every single time when I was small. I was very good. I should admit, like, I don't think to like I should admit that I was good in portraits, light portrait, as you described. No, that skill went away from me, but still the remnants, the leftovers of that skill still remains today. But guess what? That skill is gradually fading from my mind. The date of a genuine talented skill. Somebody who might be very good in singing, somebody who's been very good at drawing, somebody who's been very good at sports. Yeah, talents are almost killed until they get to class 12. That is it. And because of that, I'm really grateful for the lockdown to happen, where I got a lot of free time, where I got to reflect a lot with myself, to reflect what I was doing with my life, to reflect what I would be doing in the future. Before lockdown, I was all about I will get marks. I will get full marks, and I'll be the first in the class, and then I'll be, this or that, like get a job, just like that. The normal, the normal pattern that every student has been got by the system. After reading a lot of books, I got exposed to the real world. I got exposed that there's so much more than the system, and so I never stopped reading. Reading books has changed my life. And if you ask me why I never read before lockdown, because I simply never knew these things existed until there was just a genuine curiosity to read books, and then that effect. I don't know how to explain that effect, but that gradually toppled one by one. The curve gradually fell one by one when I started to read books. Yeah, domino effect. So I read books on World War II when Nazi Germany was being attacked by West allies and to like, West allies around France, and got to read a lot about the exact uh, things that happened during that war. Normandy, yeah, I remember the name of the beach, that is Normandy. That event happened in the Normandy beach, and the way how Hitler used to build that fortress was very interesting because he was his generals. One of his generals who was being assigned to that place was relentlessly uh, placing bombs, land mines at that beach, Normandy beach. But that was the result when that was the result of many men getting killed when the allied forces came down the beach and started stepping down and going through all those bombs and thrones. That was a horrifying sight. That was a horrifying moment, the bloody moment when you are working, when you are fighting for your country. You are basically seeing your uh, comrades getting killed one by one by the bullets, machine gun bullets that are being thrown to your comrades from the front end, and you are stepping over the landmines that were being placed in the beach, brutally assaulted everything. So there was a lot of stuff going. That I still read that passage where the German Nazi guard looked over through his binoculars or something like that, and he noticed dozens, dozens of ships coming forward to step down the beach. At a point, Nazi Germany was not prepared. So, I would like to read that book again because that was really interesting to the context of the historical world of the World War II that took place. and to know the military tactics that those people used to fight against each other. Although in a war, no one wins, but that strategies can be used in a modern day business and entrepreneurship. And why I'm saying that, because when it was time of Tesla getting low stock percentage, when Elon Musk was all alert, and he, because he read many books regarding military strategy, he deployed one of the strategy where in the historic context, when it was World War II, the Allies used to lay out manufacturing uh, ramparts beyond the factories, and because they needed extra planes, they had to use those areas outside their factories to manufacture the planes. And he exactly deployed that exact same strategy to make lot of cars within a specific period of time, to increase the manufacturing of cars. And that he did because he knew the historical military strategies that took place. So it is really good to be knowledgeable about those strategies that took place in the militarily. Now, right now, I'm reading books related to marketing, but not only limited to that, but I'm sometimes reading books on other topics. Like right now, I'm reading about Road to Character, and I was reading about Mastery of Love, that same book which I have read during lockdown, and yeah, I'm enjoying reading them. Now, until this point, whatever I have been speaking, whatever I know I am speaking, is full of empty words. I need to increase the flow of my sentences more smoother, and I need that to ensure that I don't fumble around while speaking with somebody. Like communication is a key to in a business. I literally don't know what to speak right now, but I'll keep speaking to build the progressive overload of speaking. So let's talk about the latest book that I have read about Elon Musk. That is the only book I read about him. That book was published exactly after the first Starship launch, and exactly after Elon Musk acquired Twitter. Walter Isaacson written that book, who previously wrote the biography on Steve Jobs. So yeah, that was really a great experience. Like imagine you are a writer who has been assigned to write biographies of the two of the most biggest entrepreneurs of all time. So imagine you are you are a writer who has been assigned to write biographies of Steve Jobs, and also now you're writing about Elon Musk. How rich the experience would be. He himself told that he used to live at the backyard of Steve Jobs. Backyard, literally, to know his daily routine, even though he's at his home. Okay, leave out that, but let's talk about Elon Musk. He has been born in the Africa, and at a period of time, at a atmosphere, at a place where thugs, gangsters were relevant at a period of time, and where he had to go to school with his brother Kimball to experience bullying, murder, bloody events. He literally had to fight bloodily, and that has shaped his childhood as a ruthless individual. Now, as he grew up, he was rather unusual to other normal students. He was scientifically good about studies, but if you tell him about a certain thing, if any teacher was present during his class, suppose anyone asks him about anything related to a subject, he would literally stare at a window looking at the nature. He was unusually staring like that. And teacher reported to his mother that he used to do that thing only. That is very unusual of him. Now, later on, he found his love for reading a lot of books. He used to read a lot of books during his childhood. Books from ranging from different topics, books about technology. And his dad was a mechanic. Because of that, he got exposure to mechanical tools and he used to play with that. And there were many complications in his family, with mainly his father getting drunk and exploiting the family. When he was 15, he decided that he will leave the country and go to Canada. He would like to go to United States of America because opportunities was vast there. So he, with the use with using the connections that he had, he went to Canada as immigrant, and then later on went on to USA to study at University of Philadelphia for business studies. No, he used to study economics or commerce, something like that. Maybe it was business studies or something like that. So let's talk about how he started his first company. And yeah, he started his first company with his brother, where the company's website was up all day and he was coding all night. Now, I also forgot to mention that he made his first computer game when he was 13 years of age by self teaching himself the language of BASIC, that basic programming language, and he sold that game at a price of $1,000 or $2,000 to a news publication. He literally earned money at that age. Also, I forgot to mention that he and his brother and few of their friends used to go to houses to provide some product or services, and in return to earn some money. I admit, at this point, I'm speaking anything that comes to my mind without any proper flow, but I know it's very necessary for building the progressive overload of speaking, and I really need that. Elon Musk and Kimball went on to sell their company Jeep to at millions, and at a period of time, that money was enough to retire. But guess what? He never did, and he again started another venture with someone. No, not someone. He started another venture whose name was X. Yeah, it was X.com, and it was a company which processes payments, which enabled online payments all around the world. And around that same period of time, there was another company was doing the similar thing as him. And hence, guess what? Those two companies began competing with each other. It was so fierce, it was so competitive, that eventually, at the end of some time after, they had to merge their two companies with one another, thinking that this competition will destroy both of the companies. And at that period of time, Peter Thiel was getting recognized to the entrepreneurial world. Then he ordered his first ever, Elon Musk ordered his first ever supercar, McLaren. I don't remember the model name, but it was McLaren. And you know what he did? He crashed that McLaren with Peter Thiel in order to impress him. He was all about risk taking. And Peter Thiel was the person who knew more than him. Later on, he and Peter Thiel went on to sell that company to eBay, was earning millions of dollars, millions, like 100, 200 millions. At a period of time, it was almost possible. It was possible to retire his life, but guess what? He never did. And using that money, he invested in two companies. One to start to start making rockets, and another one to SpaceX, and another one to a company named Tesla, which he never founded. And that lawsuit of who founded the company went on for years. And yeah, there are many part of his life which is a cliche, which is a not good moralistically. So let's talk about the story of how he went on to found SpaceX. So he went on a summit where there was people explaining the fact that if we can go to Mars, then a lot of problems regarding humanity would be solved. And he was really intrigued about that thing, and then he thought to, he saw that NASA was uh, they were destroying their plans of getting to Mars, and the moon mission that happened was like 50 years ago, and there was no missions like that ever. So he thought to instill the idea of NASA going to planet space again. He thought to buy a rocket, put a green house plant on that rocket, and plant that on Mars. Literally thought that out of his mind, and he thought he can do that. And for that, he literally went on to Russia to buy ICBM missiles, rockets. And when those Russia military asked him about what his rocket he is going to do with that rocket, he told that he's going to plant a he is going to plant a greenhouse plant on Mars. And on listening to that, the Russian military basically made a sharp remark by saying, "Go home, little kid. You can't do this," or something like that. It was total disrespect to Elon Musk. Now, with that, keeping in mind, when he was coming with two engineers on his plane, he was doing something on his laptop, and when the engineers discovered that he was actually designing a rocket, then Elon Musk said that we can make the rocket ourselves. And he there analyzed the raw materials that are being involved in the manufacturing of that rocket, and that is actually feasible within the amount of money he had. Now, he then started to work right away, and he went on to make rockets and three rocket failures to see the four rocket launch getting successful. That's how SpaceX was born. And he, after the third crash, he almost had no money to reinvest in the company, and that was really devastating to him because he also invested some of his money to Tesla, and Tesla was also on the brink of destruction. And at that point of time, he had an important choice to make, whether to give all of his remaining money to one company, between those two companies, whether it's Tesla or SpaceX. But so he and his friend told him that exact thing. But guess what? When his friend told him about this thing, Elon Musk replied back to his friend with the analogy of, suppose you are having two child, and then you have this limited resources, and both child are struggling. You are having these resources to you have to give those resources to give any one of those child to let other child die. It was like that situation to himself, because he thought the company was like a child to him, because no matter how devastating, how the company destroys himself, he would still have to own the company and to run it like that. It's just similar to owning a child, and even though the child is doing mistakes and destroying the reputation, he still is owner, he still is a father of that child. It's like that. And it was a high risk, high return event. NASA almost made it clear that if he company makes it happen to launch a satellite to space, then their company would be funded right away. And after a lot of relentless uh, work ethic by him and his teammates, and during the fourth launch, it was also bound to fail, but something miraculously happened. You know what? When they had these resources, they literally uh, moved to that rocket with the help of military aircraft. And when that aircraft started to descend to the airport, the rocket was getting uh, plumbered by the air pressure. And because of that, they landed to the airport safely, but the rocket still got its damage. So Elon Musk later told them to use hand hammers and make the rocket straight like that. Unconventional, unconventional thinking makes unconventional inventions, makes unconventional breakthroughs, and that was what I was getting to learn from Elon Musk. He always used to question about everything that the original, that the conventional, that the traditional rocket companies used to do, right? Applying this or that components that used to cost a lot because on the fact that they were labeled as space graded materials. But guess what? Elon Musk literally used a toilet handle from a hardware store and used that as a door to his own rocket, and it worked like that. And there were many little incidents inside that story where how he actually reduced the rocket cost to size of a pulp, and that thing went on to become the greatest rocket companies ever exist today. And now he's making starships like that. So it is was a very interesting read. And not only the book covers about his inventions unconventional terms, but also it covers uh, about the events that occurred with his family. Like his private life was a complete mess. His private life was a complete mess. That is the thing, because of his personality and some disorders he has, which although made him successful in his career, but never, like, always struggled in his private life with that same traits that made him successful in the companies. So there's a lot of things to learn and a lot of mistakes that we should not do as an entrepreneur at ourselves. Right. So now as I told you, that I am also reading books on marketing because right now I'm all into marketing, copywriting. One of the book name is Take Their Money by Kylie Milligan. And that book basically covers the basic things that are required to write a copy, the basic fundamentals, the basic emotions that that an irresistible copy needs to build intrigue and get readers read line by line until they get at the end of the page where they already took out their credit card to buy the program or product. So the principles are like easy, simple, easy, simple, and NESP, new only, easy, safe, safe, predictable, before. I don't remember what does it means. See, you know what I mean. I'm reading books, but I still don't grasp the full idea. Like if I had grasped the full idea, then I should have been told here in front of the camera. So I have to make an habit to talk about those marketing things that I learn and record them one by one in the videos. My tongue is literally in out of water because it feels like I'm speaking. I'm speaking. I'm keeping on speaking, but the juices are almost emptied out of the brain. And this proves that I need to practice a lot. I need to practice the flow of my getting the ideas. I know it's 45 minutes. More 15 minutes to go. All right, let's make it happen. Let's talk about the book Leads. Oh, please, I don't even remember the name of the book. How crazy is that? So, this book covers the various types of leads, the headlines, the customer sophistication a customer has, and yeah, it covers the sales pages that are being written around those exact uh, awareness levels one by one. One is like in the left side it is indirect offer, and in the right side it is direct offer. And that means when it's indirect offer, then the audience is fully unaware, and when it is direct offer, then the audience is fully aware. And in between lies the more for offer angles that are being very much considered in the world of marketing today, that are very prevalent in the world of marketing today. And that depends on and this book first speaks about this one thing: how much information does the customer knows. Let's say you went on to talk to a friend, and let's say there's a new stranger. He's totally unaware to you. Now you need to break the ice. You need to break the ice before conversing with him. And let's say there's a old friend who you know, and you basically talked about some kind of topic before that day, so you can start the convo right away with that similar topic in that head, and that's direct offer. So, in order to break the ice of that stranger, you need to start with a new conversation, and you need to imply that specific sentences to break the ice, and that is indirect offer. You might be start with introducing yourselves, what you do, how you do, or telling some stories or like that, and then gradually increasing the sophistication of that customer. It applies in here also. Like this book, yeah, I now remember the name of the book. That is Great Leads. Not only will it help me in my marketing, but also it will help me in my communication. And I think there's some relevance to it in the outreaching messages. Suppose you're right now fitness, almost all fitness coaches do know that there are copywriters who are pitching regularly to them about emails and stuff like copy and other kind of copies. And then it became very much common to them. They are becoming very irritated about those kind of messages regularly. Copywriters pitching them about copywriting services. Now imagine these people already know this all things. Now if anyone come around that point of time, and then creates different kind of offer, different kind of message starting, and then if that seems totally new and unique to the fitness coaches, then that message, that initial message will get a lot of replies. So I think that is relevant to the Great Lead book, and I have to read that book again and again to know the concept of a person mind of becoming aware to certain product or niche. Oh my god, how am I speaking right now? Now, yesterday I was during the night I was reading some such pages. I was reading them line by line, and what I've noticed is that there are so many elements that are there in that subtexts of those words. And if in order to decode those subtexts, I again have to read the book, take their money again, because I know by the fact that if I don't master those basics, I can't improve my copywriting to the advanced level. So I have to nail the basics first, and no matter how much time it takes, I have to nail it. I have no other choice. And yes, so I would have to handwrite those sales pages one by one, and then by doing that, as Son did that during his career, and also it has been told by Dubai's most expensive copywriter that our students usually handwrite a sales page, and What I see is a difference between them and the other ordinary beginners are very exponential, and that explains the fact that handwriting copy, I mean, not bad copy, but good copy is writing good copy is very essential. If you want to improve your writing, you should like I should do hand copy on a search later, and then slow down by writing to understand why the words are being implied at that manner, why the words are being written at that manner, to underline every word and understand the subtext of each word being placed during that order. And yes, that is very necessary to understand the exact psychological aspect that every horse has. So I just got interrupted by someone. So let's resume my talking. Now, what I am talking here is that if I master these copywriting aspects of the writing, then if I can implement these copywriting principles in my everyday talking, everyday speech, then guess what? That would be very much powerful in whenever I speak, because my persuasion. So I'm getting interrupted again and again, but I'll try to keep continuing what I speak. So if I make it happen to implement the copywriting tactics and exactly what I speak every day regularly, then it will be very powerful, because not only would it be very powerful, but also if I can become a copywriting speaker myself, then no one's going to stop me from influencing what people want to do. And that is the reason why I have to go very deep into this copywriting thing, not only to acquire clients, but also if I can master these very deep aspects of customer awareness, customer sophistication, then I can actually appoint calls with those prospects or leads that I think of as my dream clients, and that is very powerful. And those direct response principles, I can purely apply that in the conversations to make these all things happen. And that is the reason why I have to why I slowing down my learning process, my writing process, and analyze word one by one in a very precise way. And it's very necessary to have a mastery over copywriting. Now, I am always I'm always escaping this exact thing of escaping covering about marketing in my videos, speaking about those things only. If I do that, it would actually increase sophistication I have, and not only that, but also it would be very beneficial in a such cause when I'll be describing them the marketing that will take place. I have to be like a coach, marketing coach, who explains these marketing concepts as well to the prospects. I literally have to do that like that, and it would be like consultation call. Like, you were suppose that prospect books a call, I would ask questions to him to know him well, to know his problems well, and to later diagnose that problems with solutions that doctors prescribe through in the form of medicines. I'll do that in the form of solutions like marketing funnels, components, and everything related to that only. So 2 days ago, I was practicing such call with Anurag, but it flopped very well because, first of all, I was not ready with any script. That is nothing, but I didn't knew what to say. That was the very weird part, and because of that, I have to prepare my own sentences. What I'll be, no, not only sentences, but the kind of theme and tonality that I would like to have in the sales calls. Because of that, if it's I'm in dire need of explaining those marketing concepts in the videos to essentially act like marketing coach to the prospects, like giving free consultation calls to my prospects. It's similar to that only. More 5 minutes left to go for 1 hour, and I still don't have anything to say. I might have a lot to say, but the juices of my brains are literally extracted fully. I've been speaking like 55 minutes until now. Oh my god. The weather is windy right now, and the house owner basically coming in to grab those mangoes from their mango tree. So during that period of time, she was talking about having, like, she was asking for clothes and much more things. That's why the video was getting interrupted again and again. Otherwise, I would have completed that until now. Let's speak until the end. And what I and because you see how jumbled I'm getting by the disturbances caused by the house owner. But I have no other choice but to continue speaking, because it's the only way I can the increase the my tongue is literally dried out, literally speaking for 55 plus minutes. I don't know what to say, but still I think that I can speak long, because I can extend my speech to whatever things happening in my life, to events that are occurring in my life. And now I can understand the very much importance of collecting stories, mini stories from your everyday life. And this habit is very powerful, and this habit is being used by professional speakers. Not only that, but those people like copywriters like Daniel Trozel or Bain Settle, who write daily emails almost every single day with the angles from their personal daily life. So, if I can record those personal life events that are occurring every single day and what I have been learning from those, then I can almost instantly talk about those things continuously without stopping. Without stopping, whatever I'm speaking. Now I can understand my weaknesses. I have to practice one of speaking every single day. If I do that, then my progressive overload of speaking, of the flow of my ideas coming to my mind will be increasing. And all over the video, I'm basically getting stuck again and again due to the fact that I'm almost out of words. I'm almost out of mouth energy. So in my community, there are these people like John, Kareem, Cobb, and Asu, and Anurag, and Gulfam, yeah, is based. So these all people are very supportive, and not only that, but this community is very great to improve your copywriting. And you really need a like-minded comrades along your journey to ask support from and to improve your journey. Even one day it happened like that I've been competing with Kareem and John for 24 hours straight without sleeping for the contest of who will write the most amount of copy in a single day, who will do the most amount of work in a single day. And although I have stayed awake for the whole day, I haven't been able to complete that event, because at the very end of the 24 hours, it was like 1 hour was left in my. During this time, thunders took over the place, and then because of that, I had to turn off the internet. And yeah, I was really tired. I never knew that my body could be writing 24 hours straight. And I do have to note this one thing, that it only happened because I know that I was in accountability period. But if I can do that alone with myself, with like staying in front of the camera for the 24 hours straight, then I would be thinking, I would be realistically considering myself working 24 hours straight without stopping, like getting like more than 1000 points in a single day. And I need to make that happen at a single point of time. And at that day when the event occurred, I did that 1000 points plus, irrespective of having tuitions. Literally, I had a tuition. That was how powerful it is. And if I can do that without accountability of anyone, then I can seriously consider that my body is capable of doing more than it. But I should be humble in my aspirations and things like that. So yeah, now it's 5 seconds left, 4 seconds left, 3 seconds left, 2 seconds left, 1 second left. Complete.